Hey everyone, it is Sharon. I am here in my lovely jewelry studio today, and I just wanted to dig into a little bit about what is the difference between solid gold, gold fill, what's gold plate, what's the difference between solid gold and carat gold, because a lot of times these terms get used interchangeably, and you should know what you're shopping for when you're shopping online for gold. So, the main thing to note is that solid gold is usually the term that's used to describe what we might technically call in the jewelry industry carat gold, meaning it's pure gold, like 99.999% pure gold that's been alloyed with other metals. And alloy just really means to like mix. Like think about like if you're mixing a cake batter and it's like all of the flour and the egg and the milk, it's all like going to be mixed together until it creates batter. That's what an alloy is. So you take pure gold and you take copper, zinc, sometimes nickel, depending on the alloy, and you mix it all together. And depending on what percentage of pure gold it is, you get what's called carat gold, which can be 10 carat, 14 carat, 18 carat, 22 carat. 24 is pure gold. So we say solid gold when what we really mean to say is that the piece is gold throughout, meaning that there's no core that's like another metal. It's not like a big hunk of copper or a big hunk of silver with gold on the outside or a big hunk of brass with gold on the outside. It's actually gold or that carat gold throughout the whole piece. And so that's what we mean when we say solid gold. It means it's just gold throughout. So if you look at the little tiny hoops in the picture here, that means that there's no underlying brass in any of this. Not that that's inherently a bad thing, though we're going to get into when it may or may not be appropriate. So gold fill, made a little picture here. If you were to take a piece of gold fill wire, what you have is a core that's brass. And then it's just the outside layer of that wire that is gold, usually 14 karat, sometimes 12 karat. It'll be stamped accordingly. So it's a layer of gold that's around the brass. Technically, to be gold fill, it has to contain a minimum of 5% gold by weight in order to be considered gold fill rather than gold plated, which is what we're going to get to in the next slide. It is actually illegal to sell gold fill as just gold. Jewelers are supposed to disclose when they are selling gold fill versus selling gold, like carat gold. So you might find that you need to read a little bit farther into a description on a website, especially, sadly, I have to say, Etsy. I see a lot of like deceptive marketing practices used all the time. But you'll have to really like dig down through those listings and look and make sure that what you're getting is gold if that's what you want to pay for. There's absolutely nothing wrong with gold fill. It is a really great alternative to solid gold if your budget doesn't allow you to buy solid gold. Though again, we'll get into a little bit later when you might definitely want to buy solid gold rather than gold fill. It is supposed to be clearly and accurately labeled. And the other thing to note is that the brass core might still be exposed around the edges. So if you're somebody, so here's, I guess, where we'll get into why it is that you want to have solid gold for certain pieces. And when I really do recommend it is especially for things like nose rings. And that's because those ends of the wire, so you'll note in this, I think you can hopefully see my pointer. If that core is brass, if that end of the wire is an exposed bit of brass, even when you say close the nose ring, like twist it closed, those brass ends might still be exposed to your piercing. So if it's inside of your nose and the piercing slipping around, your piercing could still get exposed to the brass. And if you're somebody who is sensitive to base metals, that is, you can only wear gold or you can only wear silver, gold fill is really not going to be a great option for you for nose piercings, especially if it's like a new nose piercing. It's going to just extend your healing time. It might actually irritate it so much that it closes back up. So if you have any metal sensitivities, I do not recommend gold fill for nose rings or nose studs. I actually don't even necessarily recommend them for earrings. Once again, it's going to be to your comfort and your allergenic level. Some of you might not be sensitive to it at all, in which case it's totally fine. But if you're sensitive, please note that that end of the gold brass, even say going through the piercing in your ear, could irritate it if you're sensitive. And a lot of people are. So it's something to keep in mind as you're shopping for jewelry online. That gold fill might not be appropriate for every piece of jewelry. So if you say want to get a gold filled necklace because it's not really going to rub up against anything, or some gold fill stacking rings, that's fine. But if you need, say, if you have like really sensitive piercings, even if you don't know if you have sensitive piercings, it's going to be better to go with solid gold for earrings and nose rings and nose studs, or like any facial piercings, any body piercings at all. Actually, I would mostly recommend gold and platinum because they are the least likely to cause irritation. If you really need a low-cost alternative, you can look into titanium, but those can also be kind of limited in the styles that you can get. Gold plated is essentially just like what gold fill was that I showed you in the last slide. So it's going to be a core of some kind of base metal, but the layer of gold on the outside is going to be much thinner. Typically less than 1% of the weight of the piece will be solid gold. And it's nice. Like plated jewelry can be, excuse me, very nice, but it is also much, much more likely to wear off over time. And you may have to get it replated. So as you're buying jewelry, you want to consider like what the lifetime cost of that jewelry is. So if you're getting something that's gold plated today, just understand that you might have to get it plated again within the next like year to 2 years, depending on how much you wear it and what circumstances you wear it under. So plated jewelry just has a tendency to wear off over time. So gold vermeil is very similar to gold plate and has some similarities to gold fill in that it is a layer of gold over another metal. But the core distinction with vermeil is that the base metal is not a base metal. The core metal to it is sterling silver. And that's what makes gold vermeil like a really nice alternative to buying solid gold, because at least the core of what you have underneath is still silver. And if you're the kind of person who tends to have some allergies to metal, if you get irritated by wearing, say, like costume jewelry, gold vermeil might be that really nice in between price point for you because it's still silver underneath. So even when, if and when the gold plating wears off, what you have left is still silver. So that makes it a really nice alternative. It is usually a thicker plating than just regular gold plate over a base metal. But the core distinction is that the metal that's underlying the gold is always going to be sterling silver. So I just want to say thanks for listening. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, sign up for my newsletter, which is super awesome. And you can find some solid gold jewelry made from recycled metals and made from fair mined metals on my website. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments and I'll be happy to answer them. Thanks so much.